years ago and are here with us today. My Auntie Betty was a bridesmaid. She's sitting over there somewhere at the table at the top there. And my Auntie Kate was there as well. She's sitting at the table at the top. And Olive and Douglas were there. And Eva and Harold were there. And Margaret and Jack Hetherington were there. And I think other than the happy couple, that's about it. But also in that group, I would like to include some dear friends of my mother and father who are with us celebrating today. And that is Pat and Derek Burnell sitting at that table there, and Charlie Lloyd sitting at that table there, and Wendy and Harry Skinner also sitting at that table there. I'm going to call this whole group the older generation. And I think that's sort of justified. And I was going to ask them to stand and be recognised, but in deference to their age, I think maybe we'll find another way about this. The third group I'd like to talk about today were chronologically unable to be present at the wedding, if you see what I mean, with but one very important exception, and that one person knows who he is, so we don't need to refer to him by name, but all the rest of us were chronologically unable to be present at the wedding. And I think it would be a wonderful thing if all of us in this younger group were just to stand for a moment, please. This gives the older generation... Hey, come on, the sun's sitting down, you should be standing up. This gives the older generation the opportunity to look at the brilliance, variety, and beauty of all the younger people who followed them on since that wedding ceremony 60 years ago. It also gives the younger generation an opportunity to reflect on the fact that it is those that are sitting down who were either our parents or grandparents or uncles or uncles or aunts or friends of the family who either produced us as children or helped to nurture us and educate us and to advise us and guide us and counsel us and make us what we are here today. And while we're standing up, it seems to me very fitting that we should just raise our glasses in a toast to the older generation. The older generation. You may sit down. I would like now
you have to get me on it, Peter, because we're
to change the subject completely. Today is a unique occasion. I was going to say very unique, but there's no such thing. Today is a unique occasion. Gathered together in this room and gathered together for the very first time are 4 generations of male Mapleys. This has never happened before, so far as I am aware. There is my father, Robert, who is obviously immortal. There is me, John, whose age escapes me because I just had a birthday and I can't remember which side I am of the age. There is my son, Peter, who is but just a boy. And there is my grandson, who unfortunately hasn't made a speech yet this morning, John, Robert, Peter. So there are 4 of us. And it's very interesting because if you go back in the history of our line of the family, it's all very regimented. You see, a male Mapley comes out in this line every 28.3 recurring years. and it wasn't necessary for us to wonder when Peter and Tessa were married as to whether they would have any children, and if so, when. And it was not necessary for Peter and Tessa to consider for the past 9 months whether they were going to have a boy or a girl. Because every 28.3 recurring years, a boy comes. It's just automatic.
I did it at 26.
Now, right. You're faster than we are. And so if my father can hang around until he's 115, he's going to be a great-great-grandfather. Now, I'm very pleased and I'm privileged and delighted and proud to propose the most important toast of the day. And it is to ask you all to be upstanding and drink with me to the continued health, wealth, and happiness of my mother and father, the Mr. and Mrs. Robert Mapley. I think we should call it right for a reply.
Exactly 6 years ago, as John said, give or take a few days, 3 days, I was standing on this very spot, give or take a foot or two, doesn't matter where, delivering my first speech, and I was terrified. I did the usual thing, the customary thing from Bradley, who always says, my wife and I, and that always gets a little titter of applause. Anyway, what I did, I said, no, I have to thank you all. First of all, I have to thank Fox for giving this wonderful reception at our wedding. Then I have to thank the guests for coming. And then, what else did I have to thank? Ah, the presents, that's right. I have to thank the people who brought presents. May I just digress a moment and say thank you all today for not bringing presents as requested. Then I thought, now what the hell else do I say? And I was so nervous. And at that moment, the chap in the red coat, we had a marvellous master of ceremonies, of course, properly dressed in a red coat. And he came out, put Dora's hand in mine, and thought that would help me. It didn't, the bride didn't. I still didn't know what to say, so I sat down. Well, that was here, as you rightly, and John rightly said, 60 odd years ago. Well, now, I've thanked everybody, have I? Yeah, I know. No, I haven't. I've got to thank a lot of people here today. I thank you all for coming, just as I did before. I thank the people who hosted it, Jill and Guildford. I think it's the most generous of them. And this is not the first time. We had our golden wedding in their garden, right, which they hosted. Now, when the hell did we have our ruby wedding? I don't remember. Well, never mind, we thank them. And here we are, 85, both of us. I can't think what the next occasion must be, the 90th birthday. So, Jill, you'll have to be saving up for a birthday party, which I hope we shall have here. Oh, and there are a lot of things. Have you seen these lovely things in front of you? All down by Penny. Penny, where's Penny? Penny. Now, I'm sitting here at this table with my four sisters. Now, have you looked at the photographs over there? I hope you have. Seen a beautiful bevy, a lovely bevy of beautiful girls. And they really are. Words. Seriously, if you look at them now, don't you think they've worn very well? the men, you know, 3 down, 1 to go. I'm the 1 to go. So there we are. I think it's fantastic. Now, what else have I written down? Nothing. I didn't come prepared for anything to say. John's, I thought he was going to give a melange of myths and fantasies about my taking Dora out the first time we met and went to the cinema. I hadn't got any money. She had to pay for it. But he didn't mention it, so thank you, John, for not mentioning it. And I don't know whether you believe this, but when we left here after the wedding reception, we'd gone up the road there in a car, only just a little way along the road, and I put my hand in my pocket. I left my wallet behind with the money and the ticket. So what do you do? So I said to the chauffeur, pull in round the corner there, Gladstone Road, just on the corner. There's a lovely shop there, makes it open on Sunday mornings, incidentally. Anyway, we got out of the car, stood there, he came back, and my brother, Neville, who was the best man, he delved into my morning coat, and there was my wallet. And I must mention this, it was my morning suit. I actually paid for it. It cost me 6 guineas. And I worked this out, you see, I'm one of a very large family, as you know. And I worked it out, it'd be far cheaper to buy a fitting suit than hire it from Boss Brothers. Because Boss Brothers charged a guinea a time in those days. And I'm one of 8. Now you imagine the number of weddings I had to go to. It must be cheaper to buy the suit. So there we are. Now I come to Dora. She's Dora to the family, and of course Grandma to the younger generation. Marvelous, right? Marvelous girl. She's been a marvelous wife, and is, of course. A marvelous housekeeper, a marvelous cook. Very good. Oh, and a beauty. Have you seen the photo over there? Yes. Anyway, here she is today, still looking the same. Absolutely marvelous. Well, 60 years is a long time, but you don't know that we met 10 years before we were married. We were 16. Due to my Dora's brother, Jack Hetherington, we were at school together. And if it hadn't been for Jack, I would never have met Dora. So Jack, thank you very much. Well now, darling, I can't remember what to say now. I do know what to say. I'm never at a loss for words. It's a silly thing to say. Anyway, I'm handing over to you. Can you take it from here? Yes. Okay.
Grandma, you've always got something to say.
I've been in this self-same room 60 years ago, and all the usual things people say. But I think the best thing I've got now, is our 2 great-grandchildren. There's little Ellie down there, Mary's little girl. There's Mary, and Ellie. And over there, near Peter Tessa, there's a little baby, and his name is John Roebuck. Mac. So the name John Mac will go on. I'm very pleased. Oh, there is one, I think. I wanted you to realize that the cousins in Somerset, perhaps you don't even know them, you don't know that they are your cousins. Well, it's not surprising, a lot of people here don't know each other and they are cousins. So if you have any difficulty, ask the person on your left. And the person on your left will always know who so-and-so is. I think the girls from Shipton Mallet, later through, ought to stand up so that everybody knows.